I wish good things to you who's watching this. We are nearing the finals of the qualification round for the 2025 Carcassonne Champions League, and today we'll be witnessing the consolidated final in the first qualification, in the first bracket of the first qualification bracket. What consolidated final means is that there was the final first, and the player who won all games in a row, like 4 games in a row, they qualify for the main stage of the league. And now the consolidated final is a chance for one of the players who lost only 1 game to qualify for the main stage. So we will be looking at Alexey of Japan with the screen name Setsugentou, and a newer player from Portugal with screen name leodavinci. I would have to say that the Japanese player would have to be the favorite due to his experience, national champion of Japan in 2023. It is arguably harder to win the Japanese championship than it is to win the world championship afterwards, in some, based on the level of competition that they have. But leodavinci had actually strong performance before, and they earlier played Setsugentou. They played Alexey early in the upper semifinals, won against them 2-0. We didn't stream that much, but very curious to see how the Japanese player, the more experienced Japanese player, will be managing to take care of that comeback. And overall, I mean, Leo has been doing great, winning 2-0 against the Brazilian champion Guilherme Ziegler, losing only 1-2 against Erwin Gall of Romania. Setsugentou had a relatively smooth run for him, other than, of course, his loss to Leo earlier that sent him down to the losers bracket. Won against Sila Varga of Hungary, I believe. CSZS is the screen name. Then, of course, lost to Leo, but then won 2-0 against Santiago Iniguez of Argentina, and then again Maxim Baziluk of Ukraine 2 days ago on stream. And now they're here. The rules are pretty simple. Whoever wins this match qualifies for the main stage of the tournament. Whoever loses this match, we're saying goodbye to. Best of 3, all the usual stuff. The Japanese player is outrating the Portuguese player slightly. Both players are playing meeple colors which match their national flag: green for the Portuguese player, red for the Japan. 4 meeples in hand for each. No points have been scored, but an excellent situation for the Portuguese player. Like that tile over here possibly won them the game even, or is going to make them have a huge advantage. Why do they have a huge advantage even though no points have been scored? Well, that's because this square in the center has been blocked because the quadruple city tile has gone out. There's only one of those. And so this means that this meeple will be trapped with 3 points, and this meeple will be trapped with not 3 points but more, because luckily for red draws a really good tile to try and develop his cities. But only 1 trap meeple for Leo, and that's already scoring 5 points and endless expansion potential for that ruin. So this means 2 things. Well, first of all, the long-term meeple advantage belongs to green, and that's already something. Second, he will never have problems using city tiles productively in this game. You know, extenders, triple cities, triangles, all can go into that city, and these 2 things alone should make him a heavy favorite to win. In addition to all that, a nice monastery cluster, 5+5 points and chances for further expansion and meeple recovery. This should be extremely difficult for the Japanese player to deal with, but he has some things in mind. So this new city move on the left, that has the sneaky idea of not only finishing a city for 4 points, but also creating a blocking platform against this meeple. And if red manages to draw the right sequence of tiles at the right time, such as a regular city cap plus a road, then this square will be permanently blocked and this meeple will be trapped with 1 point. So that's at least the plan. Leo now aggressively building up his monasteries, starting a new city there. Kai's thinking about 2 options. Yeah, he just simply goes for finishing the city. He just wants to create that threat of blocking as soon as possible. Leo gets a tile, which is really not the easiest. No, actually, I think it is the easiest. Yeah, so we have to just bite our tongue and go here. It is, of course, not the ideal defense, because ideally we want to draw something like a straight line, allowing for one of the 3 city caps, or even better, a starting tile, allowing for one of the 5 Doritos. We probably have to use this tile still over here, allowing for one of the 5 Doritos. The downside, of course, is that this city will be further from completion. This square will be already restricted, only 3 tiles that fit there. 3 is still kind of a lot, but red could go over here, and block this further. But if that happens, there's still a chance for us to draw one of the splitter tiles and bail ourselves out. Or worst case scenario, we get a Dorito tile and then we just try to get a bit more points. Red was sneakily setting up another blocking attack, so making this square vulnerable and trying to get a Dorito tile and block 2 meeples at once. So blocking the square, blocking this green guy and this green guy, that won't work as Leonardo immediately draws a defense. Meeples a new road quite greedily as a continuation. Some more disruptive move here from the Japanese player. Leo now probably going to finish his city, start a new one. Standard thing so far. Decides not to meeple the new city cap, which is a mistake, I believe. There isn't a reason necessarily to leave the empty. He won't get punished as he immediately gets the scoring tile that he needs. Yeah, generally you just don't want to be leaving empty city caps around for your opponent to claim. Luckily for him, he's the one to first draw it, but more disruptive moves from the Japanese player, now trying to play against this road meeple won't work, as Leo immediately draws a crossroad tiles to recover it for 4 points. But red now drawing more disruptive tiles, and this one has to be strong. Only 2 tiles remaining to fit into the square, so that should make it very difficult for Leo to finish these monasteries. They still will give him all these points, but no meeples back. But with 3 meeples in hand, I doubt that he even needs meeples back. Now probably going to go over here, continue his city. A great move here from the Japanese player, setting up the completion of his long 8-point road, and that completion in turn will create a complete blocking platform against this square over here. So maybe with the sequence of curve plus curve, for example, or even better, something like curve plus Dorito, he'll be able to block the square permanently so that not 2 but 0 tiles fit there, and expand his part of the city as well. Leo with a scoring tile, gonna get 3 points in one of the 2 available locations. In the meantime, Setsugentou gets a dagger tile and completes the city, and also this dagger tile actually is the one that, well, one of the 3 tiles that green needed over here. Leo continued his broken city, already 6 points, so a decent investment of a meeple. The real problem is only this block guy, but since Leo having trouble with his monasteries and having trouble over here, the meeple situation will be looking just fine for the Japanese player. But as it very often happens, one type of advantage is being converted into another. So Leo doesn't have the meeple advantage anymore, but what he has is an advantage on the scoreboard and an overall points advantage. just because the two monasteries in the center will score so much. There are also road setups available for either side. And actually, it's smart from green's side to create those, because so both players will be drawing curves and they will need to take care of these two spots. And whilst we take care of these two spots, this means that red stays longer over here with the square unfilled. And the longer the square is not filled, the longer we have a time and the greater we have a chance of drawing one of the two starting tiles and actually freeing up the monasteries before they get attacked with a chance of a permanent block. Leona with a double city cap. Not many things to do, but a strategic decision now. So like normal small ball move would be just going at the bottom somewhere, starting a new city. And that's what I prefer, given my long-term meeple minority now already. A more volatile and double-edged move is going over here and starting a farm with 2 completed cities, 6 points, 2 city caps in it. It could grow really quickly, but if that were to happen, red could drop some farmers of his own and take over that farm. So probably as green, with the points advantage, I prefer to keep things as small as possible, and not my favorite strategic choice here. Starting a new farm, it could work if he draws a city cap tile really quickly, but he doesn't. The first road belongs to the Japanese player, so 4 points go to Setsugentou. Leo now maybe thinking of going over here, starting a new city in his field, with some potential chances of completely blowing the field open and maybe going over here with a couple of curves, expanding it further. This, of course, would make the field much bigger, and it would make sure that green scores even more points, but this would also give red more chances to try and attack it. Red now finishes his road and creates a chance to block this square, but it's double-edged because... So Leo now doesn't draw a defense tile, which is great for Setsugentou. He's probably going to continue his city on the left. Wonder why he hasn't done that just yet. I think I know why. I think he may be like a bit afraid, but you don't need to complete these monasteries in order to win. Yeah, and Setsugentou will successfully block that square, but the issue is, if this tile were to be drawn by Leo, then Leo would be turning it in such a way that would allow this 5-point road to be scored upon the completion of those monasteries. So at least things then do seem to work out for Setsugentou when it comes to blocking, ahead on the scoreboard as well. And we can see now the problem of green. So it looks wonderful that green has the field access, but there's still plenty of access points available. And oh, what an aggressive move from Setsugentou, getting himself into a big field fight. And I think this is exactly how the Japanese player could win the game. Leo now doesn't get a blocking tile, because ideally you want to place a straight line here to make sure that a curve cannot go over here for 4 points for red and the entry into the main field through the outside of a curve. But the main problem now is not just the connection of that farmer. In the short term, this is a 6-point farm of 2 completed cities, and green has a 9-point farm of 3 completed cities. So the unification of 2 fields will only cost green 3 points. But the big problem with that kind of stuff is that the field will be very open, plenty of opportunities to connect, and green has the meeple minority, and green will just not be able to sustain the pace of the field fight. Red will be invading with more and more meeples, and green simply does not have the numbers. And that's why I didn't like that strategic decision in the first place, because you really want to keep things small. And by being a bit greedy and a bit more aggressive on the points, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think that's not going to work at all. So he's starting a new monastery, which is normally a good thing. It just doesn't seem that's something that you can afford to do in that position. Of course, the idea of drawing some city tiles is nice. Then he could continue his city twice, and he would give himself some monastery points. But there are some couple of problems with this move. So first of all, it's that kind of fact. Now Red will completely overrun this farm and just bully Leo with his meeple majority. Nothing really much that he can do, and that was actually a really nice field move, just because it's so time sensitive. So we needed to prevent that block, and not only did he prevent the block, he also dropped a farmer to make sure that when he draws the curve, 2 meeples are connected into the field at the same time, to give the red the majority on what's going to be a 15-point field with a bunch of city caps in there, and it could get real ugly real quick. So this monastery seems to come with a decision to completely relinquish the field. Well, actually, we can see how green is trying to block that square still, and that's still possible. Red might go here to get a bit of a defense, and that's probably worth doing for his win percentage. Or he could go like a more traditional move. You know what? Yeah, I don't think we even have to do that. I think a move just like here, starting a new city, and then try to complete a city and drop another farmer would be just fine. Because if this gets blocked, it's not such a big deal, because this farmer for 6 points is already worth something. We could then use this curve here, and so on. Setsugentou now tries to block that square. Leo will either ignore it and just take some quick points, here, 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 or maybe he'll try to go here to plan for an indirect defense of that square. That actually might be worth doing, because there's still 2 tiles that fit over here. And even though normally you want to avoid making committal moves like these, because if you pre-finish your city with a city cap, you're saying that you're trying to complete it, but if your opponent blocks it anyway, then you can't expand it anymore. So not only do you get yourself blocked, but you have no expansion potential. But in this particular position, the expansion potential doesn't matter, because green already has another city where he could use any future city tile. So he could just expand that one. So that's why I like this move. It, of course, does not guarantee the completion of the city. Setsugentou could still get a curve and block, but it works nicely in the short term, as with this straight line he is unable to block. Leo can now do a variety of things. He can actually go here and try and protect the square completely, making sure that he still has his 2 tiles, and that could work wonderfully. Red, of course, not able to play the straight line here, now drops yet another farmer. Green could do a variety of things. Green could go here, taking 3 points, bringing this farmer into the field, but at the very least cutting off the other guy, and giving himself chances to fight later. He could also go over here, decides to take the points. And the main idea to cut off this 6-point guy is to actually just leave himself more chances to fight for it. Leo with the city cap tile, gonna go here probably. Really the only opportunity to score. There's this extravagant option available as well, hoping for a Dovito tile, but not something that we can afford to be doing with our last meeple, so 4 points go to green scoreboard. But Leo's city gets blocked after all, but at a price. You see, Setsugentou spends a tile on blocking this meeple, and he spends this tile on not taking these 3 points. And Leo gets the curve, and now Leo gets these 3 points. So the block cost green, cost red 6 points. It's still worth it, because of course that meeple would be making more if he were to get a dagger tile that fits into that square. If that city were to be completed, a 5-point meeple would turn into a 12-point meeple, so that's 7. A meeple back is also worth some more. So certainly worth the investment, but not without compensation for Leo. A shielded tile for Leo. Probably a good idea to continue his city at the bottom. Yeah, and the thing with this monastery over here, so the point of that move strategically is it said, you know what, you could have my field. I don't care about anything. I'm just going to have 3 monasteries plus my scoreboard lead, and that should be enough for outrunning the field. So this could very well be the case. The only issue that I see with the monastery placement is that it is next to the ruin of Setsugentou. Because this red meeple is already blocked, red has no incentive to continue the city. So if green ever wants to get his meeple back, green will be forced to use a valuable city tile into his opponent's feature, into his opponent's city. And so that's what we mean when we say things like green's monastery is controlled by a red city. Because in this shared square, there's only one interested party in filling it, and that will be green. And green will be forced to make what's a 0-point move, or even a -1 point move if he puts a shielded tile here. Green tries to restrict the newly created red city. Red is expanding his field and also pre-building some road opportunities that would actually create a 6-point road that goes like this, and that would unify all the field and even bring a third farmer of red into the field for ironclad control. Leo with a curve with not much to do, maybe going here or here, trying to further block this square, which seems like something worth doing because if I'm not mistaken, there are still tiles that fit into the square that would complete a city for Kai. Hi Vika, hi Andres, hi Afonso, hi Devaka. Ah, I see Wiseman is already predicting in the chat what was happening earlier on. Like this idea over here that is right happening. Very so great board vision from my viewers. Setsugentou with the city cap as Leo tries to develop his monastery and get a meeple back. Well, pretty obvious move. We're going to have some points being scored. This is what I would expect. And this, of course, would open a connection platform to the field. And because the field is getting so big, it seems that green will need it after all. Green, of course, gets a tile that would have fit over here so nicely, but it doesn't because it was blocked. Green with a dagger tile. Decides to block. Oh yes, that's actually a very nice find. Look at this. So there are no more Dorito tiles remaining and there are no more splitters. And there are no tiles that fit into that square at all, so this happens to be a permanent block. Was that even necessary? And no, it wasn't actually. Yeah, what this move did was just nothing. Which is, I mean, not the worst thing. It didn't do any harm. Or wait, was I wrong? Yes, I was wrong. No. Because there was still this guy that fit into here, so there was still one double city cap. So very nice tile counting from Leo, trying to block. Yeah, by the way, if we have any viewers in the chat, I would really be curious to find out about Leo more, because I thought that I knew the Portuguese national team very well, and as far as I remember, Leo wasn't on it in the last installment at the very least. We also see a nice protecting move here from red as he eliminates the field's connection platform at the top, but only a 2 versus 1 majority for the field, and Leo still has a chance to invade maybe here or here. He doesn't do it. Setsugentou gets 4 quick points now ahead on the scoreboard. Will these 3 monasteries be enough to compensate for the field? Let's see, the monasteries are worth 24 now. All the ruins are roughly equal. Maybe with slight advantage for green. And the field has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities on it. Ah, so 24 field points against 24 monastery points. So a complete even unbalance. And Leo tries to go for a 12-point city. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but at the very least, he's getting the 5 points for him. And he also has the chance to get this meeple back if he gets a city tile, although actually I don't think there's any of those remaining. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. This was the last one. The last city plus field tile in the game. And I'm pretty sure that when making this move, Leo was counting that he could have some outs to get his monastery meeple back and then score more. So now the Portuguese player should be ahead by a couple of points. And Setsugentou now in a bit of a pickle, although I think he has a pretty clear path to victory. Let's see, are there any starting tile remaining? Yes, there are. There's one. So there's one tile available to complete that city. And if green gets it, green wins. But if red gets it, I think red wins too. All red needs to do is just go over here and sets up some city caps in his field. Yeah, and this is exactly what he does. So if he were to get this tile, he would score 7 points, 4 for the city cap and 3 for the field. Setsugentou now doesn't have any options really. Yeah, we just roll over and lose. Because that 12-point city was just insert chef's kiss. What a nice find. And even some chances to win without that city. So he tries to invade the big city. It doesn't work. It was actually a really nice idea by Setsugentou, going for the coin flip. Leo gets the tile, but I think that even with the invasion, green would win this because green has still a meeple available. He scores. Yeah, and also, yeah, this invasion was actually not. It was impossible because, so of course, there's only one tile remaining to connect. But even if the Japanese player were to draw it, Leo drew this one, and he would go over here. Ah, wait, that wouldn't work. Oh, the block wouldn't work because this guy would connect here. Oh, that actually was a really nice invasion. But still, the invasion would not have been enough simply because this city is not worth enough points. I also, to be honest, I completely forgot about the existence of this tile, which meant that green had even more chances to recover this monastery. So I feel like even though green got some really nice draws at the start, later green just outplayed red so hard. So the idea, he realized that he would have 3 monasteries and that would be enough to outrun the field. Like, to concede 24 field points to your opponent uncontested really requires a lot of courage. And courage is what the Portuguese player shows, so really impressive performance here. Yeah, the one move that I was critical about is that, like, this farmer in the first place. So later, of course, he realized that like field is not the strategy, and then he conceded the field. But then, why drop a farmer in the first place? Just do your own thing. Let Setsugentou have the farmers, and then that's it. So probably he just made the game a bit closer than it had to be, because of course this field ended up a bit bigger than it had to be as a result of there being additional city caps and all that was scored by the Japanese player. But still, after that, excellent idea to just stay out of the field. That really required a lot of patience, finding the city over here and running away with the game. So Setsugentou now lost 3 games in a row, 2 in the previous match, now in this one against leodavinci, and the Portuguese player is 1 game away rather, from entering the main stage of the Champions League. And the situation here also looks good for him, as he has the starting player advantage, as he is the first to get a city, a 10-point city, and this will be a bit of an uphill climb for the Japanese player again. Let me just update the score to reflect with what has happened. The Japanese player is on the scoreboard with 6 road points as well. So only a slight advantage for Leo, but the tempo as well. He will now have a move and a tile to turn it into something nasty. Well, not particularly nasty, just continues a new road. Setsugentou starts a new city, controlling said row, and again, the first monastery for Leo. A very nice 5-point spot on the left next to the city over here. He's possibly considering not going there, maybe just going here or here instead. This spot is the best spot on the board, though. It controls the city nicely. It controls this road end, which will be used by one of the players. And that's why green goes there. Leo tries to make some... No, that wasn't Leo. That was Kai, who's trying to make some blocking moves. A curve for Leo, and... very curious to see how he handles the situation. So he could either go here for defense, but I honestly wouldn't bother. I like a move like this. Just adding a monastery points and then pre-building the road for meepling it later. Like this, with back-to-back curves. Instead, he chooses to protect the square, which I wouldn't say is particularly valuable, because if this square gets blocked, then this meeple gets blocked too. Of course, it will be a slightly losing mini battle for Leo. It just doesn't seem to be worth the meeple investment. And also, I want to take care of the square quickly enough, because if we keep the square open for too long, due to the fact that 2 out of the 4 starting tiles have gone out, there's some potential in the position to block that square in the future. So you want to just secure that a little bit quicker. Leo with the triangle tile. Oh, so Leo da Vinci is just Rui Acosta. Oh, of course, a player who has been around the block a lot of time. Yeah, changed his screen name and didn't tell anybody. I wonder, like, how did Portugal get a new expert? Well, they didn't. Another starting tile is drawn by Setsugentou, which helps him continue his side of the road and directly also start a new city, and also, as a result, make this square slightly more vulnerable and slightly more likely to be blocked in the future. Leo with an extender tile, no good moves here, just need to make one of the moderate ones. A move that I like is actually this one. Nope, the other side. The other side, my friend. Because if you place over here, there are some chances of having this square blocked in the future. These 2 roads could be separated, and then this road meeple could be blocked. There's even some chances of blocking this guy as well, with a series of big tiles plus a triangle. And most importantly, by placing this tile over here, you are allowing only one type of attacking platform, so the city plus field type of attacking platform against your city. With this configuration, green is allowing city plus field tiles on the right and city plus road tile on the left, so pretty much almost any tile in the deck that Setsugentou could have drawn in his last move would have slightly harmed this green meeple over here. So it seems to be a bit of a tactical misstep. I wonder what the rationale was behind it. Red continues his city at the top, putting pressure on those squares, or maybe in the future planning to draw a bunch of big tiles and actually threaten the completion of the city. So these type of big cities can be really, really sneaky. Well, a fantastic tile for Leo, though, as Setsugentou was prepared to block his city or attack it. Immediate double city cap, covers up his city, and then invades the other. Great monastery for Red, though, trying to control the city and maybe block it in the future, or at the very least draw another monastery for compensation. This game is wide open, slight advantage for green of course, but plenty of potential for red too. Green with a scoring tile, the best that I can see is this. Oh, I think that's a big miss. I would have to say it's a giant miss for a couple of reasons. First of all, this scoring move is actually really strong, because by getting 2 points here, this would be making this monastery square much weaker, as it already would be starting restricting this square in the future. And so in the event that you complete your cities and your opponent gets a monastery, especially if it's a road monastery, there are many scenarios how your opponent would get 2 of their meeples blocked. Moreover, this move was just simply spending a scoring tile on connecting to a city which was not particularly dangerous, because it was possible to simply do that later with a normal cow tile, which there are still 2 remaining, or with a Dorito tile if you absolutely have to. So that seemed to be unnecessarily conservative. But also another thing that I didn't like is that it gave this road end to potentially use for a Setsugentou. Now, of course, this won't happen. And Leo follows it up and blocks the square. And just as about, Leo was preparing to maybe separate these 2 roads, with the point that this green meeple with this side of road would be alive, but this red meeple will be trapped. Red, of course, makes sure that both meeples are trapped, so this long road is shared, the points are shared, and so are the dismal fate of the 2 meeples. That will never see the light of day again. Red still has this vulnerable city, and I think an excellent opportunity for Leo to go here and try to make it more vulnerable, potentially getting out his monastery meeple, but trapping the red meeple over here. But an alternative that he's thinking about, that he should decide again, but he's thinking about, is going over here. And that would be with the purpose of protecting his city, sort of, kind of, at the very least protecting his city from invasion, but in fact, he shouldn't. This city is still surprisingly safe. So green decides to go for the blocking move and gets another farmer, a farmer in the process. I'm not sure about that farmer though, seems a bit premature. This farm does have 6 points, but really limited expansion potential. No free green squares. After something's placed over here, there'll be green squares in the future. But also, by the way, had Leo played the move that I was arguing against, then this move would not have been possible by Setsugentou. This move, of course, adds a point to green, but makes it much harder to complete his city. But no. Green had, I think, a stronger move here. This is okay, this is like a standard move or whatever. But an annoying, extremely annoying move would have been placing this Dorito tile and going over here with the city side down. So first of all, it would still leave 3 city cabs that fit into that square that he could use if he needs to finish the city, and it would leave the city cap 1 tile away. It would leave the city 1 tile away from being covered up. So if you were to cover it up with like a city plus road tile, then he would still have 3 tiles to complete his city. But more importantly, this move over here, if you were to do it, it would eliminate a monastery spot, which is something quite dangerous from Green's perspective. Red now with possibly the best tile in the deck for him. He chooses to attack the shared city on the right, which is an excellent choice. It's going to give him a lot of points. And because Green hasn't fully covered up his city, well, we can deal with that threat later. So for example now, Setsugentou can actually go here and just block that square. This is the last starting tile, so the last tile of its kind. If it goes here, this square will be permanently blocked. This will also very much devalue this monastery spot, because the monastery spot will be capped at 8 points, no opportunity to recover a meeple. And that's why he decides not to do it. Instead, he adds a point to his city, which is likely to be blocked, but he's trying to say to green, if you're going to block my city, you're going down too. I'm going to block your monastery. The field will be very small. This road end will make it very hard to develop. And what you going to do? Just as red was preparing to invade and conquer an 18-point city for themselves, they are being denied that opportunity by green, who manages to join too, but red has other things in mind, as he now renews the threat of completing the city, and there are still tile combinations that fit here. So that's the cool part about this. So he adds 2 points. So this is it's a productive move, and there's still a threat of maybe completing that city in the future. So green, for example, if green gets a tile that goes over here, and he might want to place it here to free up his monastery. Whilst the city is alive and could potentially be completed, green can't really do that. Green will first need to try and draw something like a Dorito with a road and then block that square, and only then try to draw a dagger tile to complete the monastery. And there's only one of those dagger tiles available anyway. It's a very nice patient move here from Setsugentou. Yeah, so one thing the Japanese players know really well how to do is flexible city building. Flexible in the sense that they add points and they just make sure that the city has expansion potential, but then if they get the right sequence of tiles, they want to always keep the options open of threatening the completion of that city, which can result either in a lot of points if your opponent can stop it, or even if your opponent can stop it, it sometimes comes at a price, such as spending some valuable scoring tiles on blocking. Well, it doesn't happen now, as Leo spends a valuable scoring tile on scoring. And that's what he does. And now, he has the chance to create a threat of his own. I don't think it's worth going over here and blocking that square just yet. What I'd rather do as green is go over here and covering up his city, leaving still 2 tiles that fit here that would complete his city, or some other combos such as the Dorito, not the Dorito, of course the Dorito still goes there, but how do you call this? The regular city cap plus the cow tile. So there's still one cow tile available, so multiple combinations. So probably what Setsugentou will need to do, he will need to draw a road monastery and go over here just for blocking purposes. And he'll probably not going to have enough meeples to take advantage of the 8 points from this monastery spot, unless of course he draws it close to the end of the game. But look at red. This is a lovely move over here. Adding 1 point to his city, but still keeping the chance of completing that city alive. And even after Leo draws one of a dagger that fits into that square, still 2 more daggers remain. This square is completely unobstructed, and this could become quite problematic for green. Leo here, still with the dagger tile, makes a move which is understandable to me, but one with which I don't agree. So I guess he just tries to block his own monastery simply to make sure that any far-fetched threats of completing that city won't work. Actually, that's not such a bad idea. But I wonder if he's far enough ahead to do stuff like this. Well, he is now after scoring 4 more points. And now a lot will matter. A lot will matter about who's going to draw the tile that fits over here. Because if red were to draw a curve, he would go over here, block the square. The point is not blocking the monastery. The monastery is not a big deal. The monastery is already blocked. But it's about all that city cap. The city cap is everything when it comes to to field development potential. If a road were to go over here, this square would be blocked, and this field would be very, very much restricted. But now, Leo has a chance to go over here, save that city cap, still allow him to have a chance of drawing one of the 2 remaining vanilla tiles for 4 city points and 3 field points, so that's 7. And this would bring in that square into the field, which would include this city over here. So the potential of the field would now go up to 12 points, which probably would be game decisive at this point. So Leo now, of course, needs to find this move now, which he did. Great find here from the Portuguese player. And life is hard for Japanese here. So what do we need to do? Well, first of all, we need to rejoice that we got the cow tile. That's actually a pretty big deal. It helps us to develop our blocked city. What that's about, I completely don't understand. Red just helped green with his field. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think I might maybe sort of kind of see an idea behind this, but you really don't want to make. Here's a rule of thumb in Carcassonne. You don't want to make moves which your opponent will make for you. You know, green of course will go here himself to bring in the city cap. Maybe Setsugento's idea is that later he wants to go here and use this field connection platform. But that wasn't necessary. There are still field connection platforms. There's an opportunity to get a city cap or a extender and drop a farmer like this. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work. Actually, no, yeah, here's what he could have done. He could have gone over here with a straight line and set up this connection platform, which you might need in the future. Or, you know, later on, if we just leave this open, we can either block this square, because there are some scenarios where we draw both city caps, and then this square doesn't get filled, and then if we manage to block that square, then green's city stays capped at 6 points rather than 9, because now it's already worth 9, and that's quite the difference. Green protects red city a little bit. I wonder what that's about. The move what I would have preferred is probably going here, eliminating that field connection platform, but really nothing particularly productive available for green here. Also, I guess the idea behind this move is leaving a city cap in such position that if somebody were to score points for it, this would create a blocking platform or attacking platform against this city of red. So there is some marginal value in this placement. But going back to the cow tile, why it's such a big deal. So this cow tile, not only does it represent opportunities to perpetually develop the city at the top, this actually matters a little bit less after a bunch of big tiles have been drawn. But also it improves the chances of blocking this city over here. Oh, Leo can actually... Okay, will Leo go for it? Will Leo go for it? Over here? With a meeple? 75% chance to just destroy the game, but 25% chance to be stuck without the meeples for 17 more moves. Oh, it's so double-edged. Wise Maze is saying game over. No, that's premature. Okay, he chooses not to meeple this. That's actually pretty interesting. And I think from a win percentage standpoint, he's probably correct. He realizes that he will probably be able to score more points with his 1-3 meeple than the 8 points over here. And if he does get the Dorito tile that fits into this square, then as a result of his completed city, he's probably winning the game anyway. So 2 of those remaining. I mean, there's 1 Dorito and 1 splitter, of course. So 2 tiles remaining that fit into that square. So 75% chance to get that city. Actually, I really like not meepling the monastery here because he's ahead. He does not need those 9 points in order to win. That's really interesting. So he'd rather have the meeple, which already pays off in 4 immediate points. And that extra meeple in hand gives him more control of what's going to happen in this game. But also some extra considerations. Yeah, so I was going to say about this cow tile because it was the last of its kind before this move was here. Over here, it was actually possible for red to get a city cap, not only a road monastery, and that city cap would be completely blocking that square. A incredible move here by the Japanese player that gives him hope. Look what he's doing. He's setting up a road monastery, which only he can benefit from because he's the side with the meeples. Green now correctly spent his last meeple. This was actually good because he's trying to prevent red from completing his city, and that's totally worth it. That actually immediately pays off. And with the right tile run out, red could get the road monastery, complete it, and then even tie the field. Leo with a double city cap. No real good moves here, although he could go here and just block everything. I'm not sure if that's the way to go, really. Yeah, we'll probably just leave that square alone. Maybe we just discard that tile somewhere safe. If safe is even possible in this position. Still 17 points for us on the scoreboard. He just discarded as predicted. Great move from Setsugentou because it makes sure that he can, if he draws the splitter as his last tile or something, he gets to go over here and meeple a farm with 2 cities. He's going to have a slightly larger city, so he's going to get some extra points. Leo with a straight line. I can see a couple of moves available to us. This would maybe slightly obstruct the city. And this, on the other hand, would mess with the city cap. So that would make sure that if Setsugentou gets a road monastery, he would not be able to complete it easily. But look at this. Already positive consequences for that move because Setsugentou is not able to use the Dorito tile to complete that city. Now road monastery goes for Leo. He'll now fill this hole simply in order to not allow the Japanese player to use it. Still, both tiles that fit into the square are left in the game. The only move that I can see reasonably for the Japanese players taking care of these 6 points at the top. He's thinking if there is something better available to him. It's possible, actually. I just don't see it necessarily. They're simply, the problem with Red's position is that there's just simply not enough tiles remaining to do everything that he wants, and also that both of his remaining tiles needs to be the Dorito and the splitter in order to win. Leo now gonna get more field points with the city cap. Surely that should seal the deal. That's this last city cap in the game. The monastery for Setsugentou means that Leo is guaranteed to draw a tile that fits into the square, so he will be completing this city and making the score uncomfortably massive. So probably here with the farmer, maybe it's just the maximum that we can net. So the idea is this: we go here, our opponent gets a Dorito tile, gives themselves a meeple back, gives us a meeple back. Then we draw the splitter, and we complete a slightly larger city than our opponent. We draw a farmer as well, because we have a newly freed meeple to do that. And then as a result of this sequence, we end up with 15 field points. 9 from this farmer and 6 from this farmer. So that's about the best scoring sequence that I can see. Of course, it won't be enough in order to win, as Leo has the scoreboard lead and he has the 5 point for himself. Setsugentou realizes it and saying congrats. I'm not sure how sincere that is. Japanese players generally have like very good ethics when it comes to the chat and stuff. Wait, so Leo gets a road monastery, which means that the last tile is the splitter and the Dorito. And now it's actually a bit unfortunate. Yeah, so the splitter is drawn by Setsugentou, and this Dorito is drawn as the last tile as leodavinci. A very spectacular finish here for the city, and some key decisions by Leo. So not going crazy on the monastery, as tempting as it was actually the correct choice. Leodavinci saying somehow lucky, but he also played really well. So there were a couple of choices that I didn't like. So actually this city could have gone south for a long time, but also it's a bit on Setsugentou because he could have blocked the city several times. And yeah, difficult game for the Japanese, and the score becomes completely lopsided, but it was a bit closer than one might think. So congratulations to Rui Costa of Portugal to be the second player from this qualification bracket, the second and last player to qualify for the main stage of the Champions League, and to Setsugentou we will sadly be saying goodbye, as of course very strong and spectacular player, and the fact that they won't be participating in the main stage will make it a bit easier. That will make it a bit easier for everybody else who is in there. So updating score in a second. Yeah, so leodavinci winning 2-0 for the first time and 2-0 in the rematch as well. So, you know, if you win 4 games in a row, this can't be just pure luck, right? And that is it. So, well, there's really not much to review. The bracket is pretty obvious. Qualification, yay. Commiserations to Japanese fans. Let's just see what other matches are going to happen. So there's one later today that I'm streaming together with a special guest, 1800 UTC, Road Ads of Moldova, first participation of Moldova against the experienced Belgian Karl Verheiden with screen name 71 Knives. That is from the lower semi-final of the second qualification group, so this will be also a fight for survival. And then later, maybe Kaika of Malaysia versus Crocodile Fondue of the United States, if I'm still awake. If that stream is going to happen, I will let you know on an extremely short notice. So make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you want updates about streams like this. Hi Glavir, yeah, joining in my congratulations to Rui, of course. That's why, you know, having y'all in the chat for moral support, that's what must have helped. I generally notice that on stream, whoever has more supporters in the chat actually is more likely to win. So that's also, you deserve a little bit of that piece of success. Anyway, new stream in 3 hours, final match of the calendar day. Make sure to like this video for the algorithm, that helps more than you might think. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.